What is Iran's endgame? How does it benefit that country to provoke the U.S. to attack and kill U.S. soldiers? Iran is a closed country and the outside world rarely gets a glimpse inside. We don't know much about the religious zealots who run the country or even the Iranian people. But our next guest is an exception to that. Brian Hook is a former State Department Special Envoy for Iran, and he joins us now. Welcome, Mr. Hook. What is Iran up to attacking U.S. soldiers and assets? And is it likely U.S. intelligence can directly link Iran, or is there room for Iranian deniability in these most recent attacks?
Trey, what Iran is up to is they are trying to get the United States out of the Middle East. And that has been the objective of this theocratic regime for 41 years, ever since the Ayatollah Khomeini came into power. That has been their objective. They're a revolutionary regime, and they are committing all of these attacks against American forces in the region in order to get our troops out. President Biden right now is conducting a failed foreign policy that is putting our troops in danger. Our troops have been attacked over 200 times in Iraq and Syria during the Biden administration. And the 5 American troops who have recently died is tragic. And the president has got to reverse a failed foreign policy, if for nothing else than to protect the 30,000 troops we have in the Middle East.
It's hard for many, if not most of us, to grasp sitting down at the negotiating table with a country like Iran, but you've done it. I mean, you did it on nuclear weapons and you've done it on hostages. So what does work as far as deterring Iran?
The only language that Iran understands is pressure and force. And President Trump put in place a campaign of maximum economic pressure. The president of Iran, while we were in office, said that our sanctions cost the regime over $200 billion. Now, the regime, if they had $200 billion, would have spent it on terrorism. They would have spent it on Hamas and Hezbollah and their proxies in Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. But we denied the regime hundreds of billions of dollars. And that was very effective at constraining their sphere of action in the region. And unfortunately, the Biden administration has taken the exact opposite approach, where they have given the regime $6 billion. And the regime uses that money to then support Hezbollah and other proxies to attack American troops, Israel, and our allies around the region. So we were very successful at deterring Iran. There were no major attacks by Hamas or Hezbollah while we were in office. President Trump put in place a foreign policy that was very effective in the Middle East. He defeated ISIS. We took a number of terrorists off the battlefield, including Qasem Soleimani. But now the Middle East has gone back to the sort of the old Middle East of terrorism on an almost daily basis.
All right, the Biden administration is calling for a 2-state solution with respect to Palestine. You served in more than one Republican administration, if my memory serves me correctly. So what is the answer to the conflict more broadly in the Middle East, and in particular with respect to a Palestinian state?
Yeah, when I saw that the State Department was considering unilaterally recognizing Palestine, I didn't quite know what that means. I mean, right now, 72% of Palestinians supported the terrorist attacks of October 7th on Israel. And so if the Biden administration were to recognize the state of Palestine, what are they recognizing? And what would they be emboldening? I mean, right now, the territories of Palestine, half of it's controlled by Hamas, which is an organization we recognized as a terrorist organization. And then in the West Bank, you have something like over 80% of Palestinians supported the attacks on October 7th. And so I think the Biden administration is getting dangerously close to endorsing terrorism at this point. I mean, in this context, coming very, very shortly after the October attacks, I think this is the last thing that they should be talking about. If there is going to be an independent Palestinian state, it is only going to come through direct negotiations between Israel and Palestine. And right now, the Palestinians do not want a two-state solution. They want to destroy Israel.
Brian Hook, thank you for joining us. The message is somber, but thank you for joining us on a Sunday night, and thank you for your service in multiple administrations. We'll see you next time.
Great. Good to be with you, Trey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.